Welcome back, Sam's Army. Match week 17/18 with a live stream going on after this Boxing Day. We'll be limiting ourselves this week. Although we have a lot to talk about, we're going to limit ourselves to the Premier League, where we just got done with Boxing Day, and we have a full slate coming up this weekend, specifically Sunday and Monday. And quick side note, by the way, shout out to the Premier League for providing us with all these beautiful games to entertain us while all the other leagues are, napping, sleeping, getting drunk, hanging out in Ibiza. No, the Premier League is here with more great content, so shout out to them. Now, this is what we're here for. Tommy, Tyler, Mitch. We're going to talk about Boxing Day. We're going to maybe Mikey, by the way. He's talking a big game. He might be sleeping right now. We'll see where he's at. Maybe he'll show up 15 minutes late and hit us hard. We'll see. Anyway, for right now, we're going to talk about Boxing Day and then the weekend to come. Before we get to that, though, drink of choice or poison of choice, if you will. Tommy, start with you. What was your drink of choice today?
Guinness.
Good start.
How many?
I had 3 today.
Is this like a multiply by 3 type situation for you?
No,
or
this
like
is
your body count?
This is simple maths. This is 1, 2, trace.
Got it.
David Moyes style.
The glasses say it all.
No,
Tyler,
this is just because I'm old, but
oh Jesus Christ, Tyler, drink of choice.
Basil Hayden. Keep it classy. Keep it simple. Keep it smooth. On the rocks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mitchell?
So as these guys know, I have a self-imposed rule that I'm not allowing myself to drink until I can dunk again. So I anticipate that'll be in, 4 to 5 months maybe. But I smoke weed. So.
Your glasses don't give it away.
Right. I think everybody already knew that as soon as they saw you with those Star Trek shades or wherever. As Steve said, Mitch Frozone Goulet. All right. Yeah. Good start. All right. And as I said, Mikey might just show up half drunk, half asleep partway through here. We don't really know what's going on with him. But let's get to the Boxing Day that was. So, Tyler, let's start with you. The normal question. What was the most interesting result of the day and why?
Most interesting result of the day, I think, was either City or Forest. I'm going to go with Forest. Number 1, because I just like seeing you squirm. Number 2, because I think that it's just another solidification of the fact that we don't miss on this podcast. Mm-hmm. We talked about City's unraveling. We talked about how Forest were onto something. We're not fucking around on here. And we've been saying that from the beginning. And we got killed for both takes when we sent those live. Who's laughing now? All right.
There was a lot of Instagram people that were not happy about that. I think a lot of people agreed with us, but the Instagram, the commenters, the ones who speak the loudest tend to, be the maddest.
But at this point for me, like that Forest and Spurs game, like that was like a clear message from Forest, like we're Champions League contenders this year and you are not. Is how I felt after the game.
Wow. You're getting after it right off the bat here. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep in mind what this defense that we're putting out there is. I know. Listen, you guys can laugh at me. No. Oh, injuries. These injuries are killing this team.
They wouldn't be killing your team if your coach would just, for a moment, take a look at what reality is and bend his rules just a little bit. You know something? I am so sick of listening to him do that because him not changing his style at all is just simply saying I'm a bad coach. And all of you guys who are backing him up are drinking the Kool-Aid and making him hold on to his job that much longer. You're all culpable in this because if he really was a good coach, he would tweak at least something that he's doing to the point where that they might actually be able to hold on to result. Just because you spent $200 or $300 million in the last 4 windows on attacking players and you put up a lot of goals, but you also give up a lot of goals, doesn't make you a good coach. And you're like all of a sudden reinventing the wheel because you're not bending from your philosophies. It just means that you're actually not capable of adjusting to what's put in front of you, aka you're not a good coach. I'm so sick of all of you guys all of you guys bailing him out every single week and saying, no, he's our guy. He's our guy. I believe in him. He's playing entertaining soccer. I would be driven up a wall by this bullshit if I ever had to put up with it. But I don't have to because my club actually recruits good coaches.
Oh my God. It's so tough because I actually want to compliment Liverpool, and you guys looked fantastic again today, no doubt about it. And Arne, the Sloot, has come in and absolutely it's not that he didn't miss a beat. He's actually made the team better. So I got nothing but good things to say about Liverpool in my heart, but my head will not allow me to say it because it's you who will sort of, enjoy those positive vibes. And when you come out firing, I can't really be nice to Liverpool, although I will be anyway. Here's what I got to say. We suck. We stink. I mean, this team is we're not that good. You're right. I do think that we will compete for Champions League because I do think we'll get healthy and we'll be in the mix. Forest, right now, the 11 they put out there and the way they're coached, shout out Nuno. I got a lot of bad things to say about him, but he has done a good job with Forest. They are just a better team right now. They're just a better team than us right now with the players they got, which is, their first choice 11, essentially. They're a better team than us. So I'm not surprised at all by this loss. This is a team that we just were sort of cupping their balls, however, a couple months ago or 6 weeks ago. This is a very good team. I do think Spurs will finish ahead of Forest this season. I think Spurs will finish ahead of Forest this season. We will get healthy, and when we are healthy, we are a better team than them.
When we're healthy, when you're gonna look back on this Ange era like a favorable toxic X.
You think
you're 11 points off the mark right now.
Yeah.
11.
We're finishing ahead of Forest. That's happening this season.
Okay. Well, let's amend Tyler's earlier statement. We miss maybe once on this podcast. That one, that's just not realistic.
No. We are not co-signing that one.
No, he's in his own bubble with that bullshit. No, absolutely
we will.
not.
We're gonna finish ahead of Forest.
So what happens if Forest finishes ahead of Spurs? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, number one, I'll cry. Listen, I'm open to punishments. I'm not getting a fucking tattoo.
TikTok dance of our choosing that you have to post on the Sam's Army account.
Yep.
with that beanie on in the middle of May
and a Morgan Gibbs white kid on.
Morgan would. Okay, I guess that's fair. But also, we're doing TikTok dance for the last place in.
Fine.
In fantasy.
You know what? You know what are better odds of happening? Me not finishing in last place and Spurs actually finishing ahead of Forest.
I know. I said that. And I was like, damn, I could actually be doing 2 TikTok dances in the matter of.
Still first in our FPL league, though. We'll give you credit where it's due.
For the moment. Listen. Shout out Cunha. Shout out all these guys. I've actually had a great team. By the way, Samuel in the chat. I'm so confused right now. That's not me. That's not me.
Oh.
That's not me.
And somebody's posing as me, as Tyler.
Wait, so the person that said fax, no printer, you see it as Samuel, you see it as Tyler?
I see it as Tyler. Yeah.
I see it as Samuel.
This is sweet.
Well, I logged in as a producer, and I think so did Sam. And
I'm so confused right now.
I don't know.
Is this Boomer Zoomer?
Joe knows. Absolutely, Joe knows.
Joe knows. Sam will be wishing here. I'll put it on the stream. Sam will be wishing TikTok his man by disease. You're probably right, Joe. You're probably right about that. All right. Well, listen. Does anybody else have anything else to say about the Forest Spurs game? I didn't think that was the most interesting game at all. They're a better team than us right now, and they win games 1-0 at home.
But is City Everton even that interesting anymore?
Maybe it was Chelsea Fulham.
Chelsea
Fulham is what I was going to say.
There you go. There we go.
Yep.
And we'll get to the Aston Villa Newcastle game. I'm sure we'll get to that. Hopefully Mikey will be on at that point because he's been spitting some hot fire about that. But Chelsea Fulham. Okay, Mitch, you brought it up. What are your thoughts there?
Anthony Robinson, best left back in the league, best full back in the league. Really a treasure, and any Big Six club that transfers for him is going to get themselves a world-class player. Tyler, looking at you. I think we've been buffing Chelsea's balls for a couple weeks straight now, and rightfully so. They've been in great form, but this was a team that is going to contend for a title, but not go toe to toe with Liverpool. I think it was inevitable that they were going to drop points at some point throughout this year, but Fulham are good. I want to kind of upgrade my previous statement a couple weeks ago and say Fulham are a very good team now.
Yeah, you would slow walk that one.
I climbed the ladder with them. I'm there for the ride, and now I'm fully on board.
Who's more of a Champions League threat, Fulham or Bournemouth?
Fulham.
I think Fulham. I think Fulham's more talented. Yeah.
Oh, I think I'd say
0-0
Bournemouth.
to Palace today. We're not going to spend too much time talking about that game, but
Why, Tommy?
I don't know. It's just a feeling. Like they both. Honestly, there's no.
Who has a more talented
reason.
roster?
I think right now Bournemouth.
Really? See, I would
think
say
it's-
that
I
Fulham
think
are
it's
more
slightly-
talented. I think
it's
the
slightly
market
deeper.
value. I think the market value of Fulham's roster is probably higher than Bournemouth, but Bournemouth is like a more cohesive, and they seem to be playing more consistent, better football week in and week out, at least for the past like 5 or 6 weeks.
They've both been good for the last 5 or 6 weeks. They're both 6 or 7 games unbeaten.
I mean, look at the teams right now that are, you would say, just over, producing. You got
They play. This dovetails perfectly to the weekend preview. They play each other this weekend.
There you go.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Ooh. But the teams that are sort of like, out kicking their coverage so far. Nottingham Forest, they're in 3rd. Bournemouth, 6th. Fulham, 8th. Brentford, 12th. I guess we're sort of getting down in the into the mix of it, or into the depths. But those 2 or 3 obviously are incredible. Forest, Bournemouth, Fulham. Then you've got Everton, who have not been great, right? But they just don't lose. They've lost. Somebody was shooting me DMs. They've lost 2 games since mid-September.
Yeah,
2.
this is a Sean Deitch masterclass going on right
now. It really is, and they're all draws though. Like because they've only won 3.
How unimpressive is that United win on the road at the Etihad now? That everybody's getting points at the Etihad now. Everybody is. It's just like it's not even a good result at this point. It's just like what's supposed to happen. You are supposed to beat Leicester City at home. You're supposed to go to Leicester and get points.
Yeah. I mean, Spurs beat them twice, and that's like the only 2 wins we've gotten, in months. So
would Pep be able to keep Southampton up at this point in time? Like, is he a good coach?
Listen, I do think that when I posed the question, I meant that. Like, we're now going to find out. Let's see Pep, the actual coach now. Make your changes. Deal with the injuries and all that stuff. You can say this about Ange too, but we don't have the squad that City does. And let's see what Pep can do. Because right now, man,
his heart's not going well anymore. His heart and his head are not in it. He said that at the beginning of the season, where he's kind of like, I've won everything I can here. This isn't really his team anymore. It is, but I don't think it's a team that he really identifies with. It's evident week in and week out that he's being tactically outclassed. It just doesn't seem like he's coasting. He's in his senior year of high school. He's coasting.
Second semester senior year.
Tommy, do you see it that way? I mean, I can't imagine that for a second, anytime that Pep Guardiola is stepping inside the technical area, any given year, that he's not just like addicted to the concept of winning and winning Premier League titles, that he's like genuinely out of gas.
I think both are true. I think anytime he steps in, he wants to win, and he's like a madman. But I think it gets repetitive, and like your deep energy just isn't the same as if you're 2 years without a title and you're just hungry, or you're 4 years with a title.
That hunger isn't there. He's been satiated for years now.
To be honest, I think this is exactly what he and that club needs to remain dominant. Same thing with Liverpool at some points, where they have a fantastic kind of 2 or 3 year stretch, and they have one down year, and then they come back up. It's like sadly, it's exactly what these teams need to stay on top.
Do you think Pep's going to stay around?
Yeah,
He's gonna bounce back.
I am convinced he doesn't leave this, given the fact that he doesn't get fired until it's in a good place to leave. I think he is hell bent on leaving City in a better place.
I still want to know what rock bottom is. I want to find out where it is. I want to see a world in which Pep is fired from City.
You want
a
to watch
pure
the
hater.
below you burn.
So what number? It's 1 win in how many
13.
games? No. How many games does he get fired? Like 1
If
in
you don't,
25.
No, I think it would be before that. I would say it's 1 in 18 or 19.
So, okay.
They got Leicester. We've talked about this before. They've already started the stretch. We're like, well, if they're gonna get one,
If he's gonna get fired, yeah.
They're at Leicester on Sunday. They are at home against West Ham on the 4th. Then they got Salford in the FA Cup. Brentford away, Ipswich away, PSG away in Champions League, Chelsea at home, Club Brugge at home in Champions League, Arsenal at home. Jesus, you know what? They got a stretch coming up. If he doesn't get a win in the next couple, then they're hitting PSG, Chelsea, Bruges, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, Tottenham, Forest, Brighton. Like
he might not make it through that. He might not make it through that.
I mean, when I hit Brighton, we're already in March at that point.
But even if you beat Leicester over the week, that's their next game, right? Is Leicester?
Yeah, away
even
at
if you beat Leicester the next weekend and you get through Salford or whoever it is, but then you go winless in that stretch of 5 or 6 games, that's enough to get you fired.
Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway, how about the other side of Manchester? Because we get accused of not talking about United enough.
Yeah,
but I feel like we're seeing the same thing over and over again, and over again. And a rat, just the dumbest heading into the first few minutes of the second half. What is he doing? What is he doing?
Somebody was saying that he's the worst captain. Just the absolute worst captain. I don't know if they said it was the worst captain in the Premier League or worst captain that Manchester United has ever had, but he's.
Who would you rather have as your captain, him or Aubameyang?
That's a great question.
Wow.
Bruno. I gotta go Bruno. I gotta go with
Bruno would never disappear in the middle of a pandemic to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's almost why I prefer Aubameyang as my captain.
You gotta go Bruno.
Keep you on your toes.
That was significant of that team, though. Honestly, Aubameyang. Like all seriousness.
No, come on. That's not the right. That's not the right.
I mean, Bruno is unquestionably the better footballer, but as a captain, I don't think Aubameyang is making the stupid decisions that Bruno is. I don't think he's getting involved in the antics that Bruno is week in and week out. Not half the footballer Bruno is, but
on the field. So you're saying he's not? He's making better decisions on the field. Aubameyang is.
Yes.
When he's on the field.
Yes. I'm not saying he's a better footballer. I'm saying he's not a dumbass on the field.
But how about the argument that Mikey and I were like? I don't know if there are any United fans who are in the chat right now or in the stream, but like, I don't. And Tommy, maybe you can speak to this better. Sure, I see them having a little bit more of the ball, and it looks like mildly more consistent in terms of what they're actually trying to do. But you can't convince me that this is like totally dissimilar to what's going on with Spurs, where it's like you can't just keep praising Amorim because he's pushing the right buttons and going through these trial and errors and trying to figure out who's on his team. Win some games. Winning fixes everything. And whatever you think that you're solving in the locker room, if you continue to lose games, you're going to lose that goodwill. And as those chips that you're collecting based upon, benching Rashford and forcing him out and shit like that, you're giving them right back to the casino by just losing games at home, like getting throttled by Bournemouth 3-0. Like these, I don't know. I don't see all of the positivity. He still could end up being the guy for United to get them back to where they need to be, but there's more likelihood that he's the guy before the guy at this point in time.
I thought both of those things. First, he said it himself. We need to win games to give me time to do what I want to do. He has come out and said that from minute one, that the most valuable thing he has is time. And if he wins, he gets a bit more time to actually do what he wants to do. So I think he is very much aware of that. And so I don't think when you compare him and Ange, he's not, I think, so stubbornly preaching like this fantasy of attacking football. Like I think he's much more realistic on like what United's capabilities are and trying to address that. And I actually like the Rashford call. Like he's like, I'm doing it my way, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna go down my way, which I have total respect for. Um, Same for Ange in that sense. Like he's like, I'm doing this my way, and if it's not gonna work, fine. I'll walk out with my dignity at least. Um, and then what was the guy before the guy? I was talking about this with like someone today about Emery at Arsenal.
Mm.
And then I think maybe him with PSG, but there's some other guys like this after like a long tenured coach or whatever, that they get them on the right path, and maybe they weren't there at the right time or the right manager personality, but they still end up being successful elsewhere.
Nuno.
Yeah, yeah. But again, no offense to Spurs, like Nuno and Spurs are not a match at all.
But
Like he is a match for
Amorim
Forest.
and United might not be a match, and all of the players that they bought just might not be it. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe isn't willing to just clean house again and give Ruben a fresh start for a head coach who's not proven. You know what I mean? Like, whereas if Unai had,
That's a
sorry,
bit of a chicken or the egg.
same
argument, though.
same with Potter and Maresca. Like Maresca had, and Arteta, same thing. Like they very much both had way less experience than Potter and Emery, and they come in and they do well. I just think we're very reluctant to give credit to the guy who got sacked after the next coach is successful. Like regardless of what happens, there's going to be a foundation laid.
like a Jaap Stam at FC Cincinnati type deal, you know. Only Tommy and like three people who listen to the podcast would understand that reference.
Yeah, no comment on that one.
We needed a couple more Guinness. We might have gotten to the bottom of that. All right. Well, we went through a lot of stuff there. Now, do you want to? We talked. You brought up Manchester United, but you didn't bring up like the game itself. Like Wolves outplayed them and won the game. Yes, there was a red card.
Well, the red card changed the game.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
And United still pushed for the equalizer, and I thought that they actually did well when they went down to 10 men. But the game itself, Wolves looked much better. Cunha's a baller. I was going nuts for Mikey on when he got that anytime assist in the 98th minute or whatever it was. That was epic. But we have to talk about the Jhon Duran red card. Otherwise, what would we be doing here if we didn't?
Sam, I'm going to give you one chance to admit that this is a bit and you're just doing this to piss me off.
See, Mitch, I'm going to back him up here, because every pundit and their mother, including Unai, if you look at his reaction to Duran leaving the field, knows what he did and has
he's seeing this from the sideline. He didn't see replays. He didn't see that in high def. He's watching this from the sideline.
But let me tell you something though. He knows what kind of player Jhon Duran is. I know, after covering him for a year and following him around on the road, what type of player he is. He's emotional. Emotional.
And what do you think? What emotion was evoked when he is in on goal?
Frustration. He's not.
You don't develop a frustration in a half a second. His balance was off.
You're right. It builds up. It builds up over time. Builds up over the course of the game.
It's the first afterwards he was emotional.
It's the first half. Watch that replay. His left ankle is rolled. He has no time to develop.
He looked down and made contact with him 3 times.
He looked down because he's falling and he's trying to decide where to step, but he can't step anywhere because he's a 6'4" center back sprawled out on the ground in front of him after a clean slide tackle, mind you. He has no time to change direction, to put his foot anywhere else, and it's not a stomp. It's not a rake down the back as you've worded it, Samuel.
It wasn't gentle. It was not gentle.
He wasn't trying to
step somewhere.
Tickle him.
It's the nature of where his foot has to go. It is.
You are incredibly empathetic to this young man.
One, I like him as a player, but that is entirely beside the point. I don't care if this is a player on Spurs that's not a yellow.
It didn't
I'm
look
dead
like
serious.
a soccer play. I've never seen that before. Ever.
It didn't look like a soccer play because he was off balance. The step before he needs to put his right foot down, his left ankle twists. He has nowhere to put his right foot, and he has no time or momentum to change direction.
And what about the next two? What about the next two steps, or just falling on top of him?
But he's leaning backwards. Like the only time I feel like he actually made contact with his boot was on his like ass low back.
But why did Robbie? But why did Robbie Earl and Robbie Musto both agree with me and Sam? Two guys who have also played at that level and who are looking at the same thing that we're looking at.
Don't pull the plate at that level card.
Dude, when you go 50-50 shoulder to shoulder like that, and you're both massive human beings, you don't have any control over your body. And to be honest, I think he's lucky that worst case scenario in that moment was a red card. Like his like left knee is about to hyperextend backwards. And he's out for a little bit. Like I've seen someone do that exact movement and it slingshot them forward and like did everything in their knee. Like 50-50 and then slingshot forward.
I hear you on the hyperextension and sort of his ankle, what Mitch is talking about, where he slightly got his ankle twisted. You're right. You're right about that. And I honestly think that that's where the emotion comes into this, because if you watch the replay, and I've just been sitting here watching the replay over and over and over while I've been talking about it, Schar's foot, or maybe even both feet, kind of come back up at Duran, right? And I really honestly think that Duran's, we're talking about emotions, I think his emotional reaction is like, okay, fuck you. I'm going to basically try and stomp you. And that's what he did. And he raked his cleats across his back. He's a world-class athlete. Like Jhon Duran is an incredible athlete. He could have put his foot somewhere else. He could have put his foot, just not put his foot down. He could have done a lot of things. He raked it, and it was intentional. And his response, his reaction to it was so patently, oh shit, I'm guilty as fuck. I just did something very bad. And listen, you watch his reaction.
I realize I just made contact with your back. He immediately checks on him. He immediately goes down to make sure the guy's okay. If you are frustrated and if you want to injure a player, you don't immediately say, "Oh shit, my bad. Are you good?" If that's his intent, if it's based in frustration and he's let the emotions get the better of him, and you want to strike someone, you want to injure someone, do you immediately come to your senses and say, "Oh, sorry"? No. You own up.
Yes, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, I'm with Mitch on this. If everything is correct on him being an emotional guy in that aspect,
right,
he is either standing over him, saying something,
right,
or going face to face with him,
right,
or waving him on to get up. If he's truly,
guys, you guys are just dead
that's
wrong.
That's just my opinion. I cannot wait for that thing to get appealed, rescinded, or brought down.
I don't know if there's enough evidence to be able to say like, oh, it wasn't it. Like, how are you supposed to judge his intent off that? Because that's what it ultimately comes down to.
How about if he gets out? He lands on him and then he kicks out even after his foot lands on his back.
If he had made contact with him once, maybe even twice, I would understand.
What happens if the kick out's just him like taking his foot off of him? Like, I don't want to keep my foot on him because I know if I stomp him, it's a red. So I just kick out my foot away. That's how I read that.
I can't get on board with it. I really think it was
1, 2, 3. It's too much for me. It's too much.
But it's not 3 straightforward steps. He's not continuing his sprint. Again, both players sprinting. This is a long ball, and it's not 3 balanced steps before he makes contact. It's 3 stumbling steps because Cher has just tackled him and then but then gone down to ground in front of him.
The second step that he takes
direction and put his foot somewhere else. It's entirely unrealistic.
The second step that he takes with his right foot is actually on the outside of Fabian Schär, and then he reaches forward and catches him. Like there was the hyperextended one, and then his ankle rolls on the left foot, but like he comes back towards him again. I just can't get behind the fact that there's enough in that to be able to say, oh, it was definitely accidental. There's too many points of contact with him.
There's points of contact because Cher's run and tackled him. It's not Duran's fault that there was contact. It was Cher's contact in the first place.
It was the continued contact, and it was the raking of the leg. By the way,
next question, Mitch. Next question.
Okay.
So Jhon Duran just starting over Ollie Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
How long is he going to be in the dog pound with Unai Emery for after that one?
I don't think he's in the dog pound. I think given his reaction of kicking the water bottle on the sideline, maybe a game. But if I'm Emery, I am not basing that.
Emery didn't even look at him.
I'm not basing that 35.
I think it's I think it's 5 to 10 games on the bench.
What?
Yep.
5 to 10 games of not starting.
That switch. You think he's so quick to bring it back and say,
"Yep,"
nah,
because it solidifies why he didn't start him when he was banging in goals left and right in Champions League and the Premier League in the first 6 games of the season.
I don't think he's given a chance to solidify it or not. I think this is a freak incident.
I mean, part of this, it also depends on what Watkins does. If Watkins comes back in and actually scores some goals, that sort of gives Unai
who does Villa have
flexibility.
Let's dovetail this. Oh, Brighton. These are some good games this weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Manchester United, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves. We can't beat anybody at this point. Yeah, there's some great games. By the way, just a couple of the comments from the text. JP pointed out he also got kicked in the nuts. Fair point. And that's where I think part of the reaction was coming from. Joe knows, Mitch, you got to get some different shades to make the case. It's the equivalent of showing up to court in gym clothes.
I'll represent myself in court in gym clothes. I don't care.
Steve.
That's a good point. Joe makes a great point there. See,
Steve from the top rope. I love it.
If the Brentford red versus Pickford got overturned, this has a good chance, said JP. You're not wrong. You're not wrong on that. It's tough with these types of.
That won't get overturned.
I don't think there's enough evidence to overturn it.
No.
Yeah. Nope. Don't start with me.
Where's the pillow that I yelled into? All right. So we agreed that
we agreed.
We all agreed. We all agreed.
We all agreed to disagree.
We all agreed.
We agreed. It's too bad Mikey isn't on here. He'd be losing his shit more than Mitch is, actually.
And he'd be firmly on my side.
Oh, he is. He's 100% on your side
right now.
Because when we opened it up to the voted, to the vote to the group, it was, what was it, like 9-3 or something like that?
9 right now.
Oh, was it? You guys caught up?
And by the way, anybody who's not signed up for the Patreon and the Patreone, you need to do it. It makes game day that much better. Like the ability to banter, the ability to, like, Mitch immediately put out a poll after the Duran red card, seeing who believed it was and wasn't, and the people spoke, and they obviously said that it was a red card because it was. It makes everything that much easier. Go to Sam's Army Instagram page or whatever. Our Patreon link is right there. It's $3.99 a month. It's super easy. You get Tommy's Tactics Corner, which just makes all of us smarter. And then you get access to things like this, like a live recording of the podcast. But also the Discord, honestly, is like, it is doubled how much fun game days are, because
Seriously,
you've got like 100 of us in one group chat on the Discord. And for people who don't know what Discord is, just do a quick little Google. Don't ask Sam because he still doesn't know what it is.
Don't ask me.
But it's a lot of fun. So head over to Patreon and sign up for Sam's Army. Saw a couple of people signing up over the holidays. Maybe you got some Hanukkah gelt. Maybe you got a little bit of cash under the Christmas tree from Santa, whatever it might be. We love it. And thank you for those who are signed up right now and who are listening to this, via whatever, but are in the Discord with us. We love you. That's all I got.
So now, the games themselves, we've talked about, a lot of them, but we had City, Everton, draw, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, draw, 0-0 draw, by the way. That was hugely disappointing. That was obviously it was the Bournemouth.
But the game looked fun. I had it in the multi-view. It looked like it was back and forth.
I was excited. I had the over, shockingly. That didn't work out at all. When you bet an over and you get a 0-0 game, that's the most demoralizing. It's so bad. Chelsea, Fulham. Have we talked about Fulham? We gave them like their flowers for a second, and then we talked about Forest and Bournemouth and some of the other teams. Have we given Forest their flowers at this point?
You mean Fulham?
Fulham? What did I say?
Fulham.
Yeah, Forest. Sorry,
Forest.
never mind. That was the
We did.
Pacific I
Yeah,
was talking.
We did.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Forest.
Another guy who was in a bad situation at Everton, Marco Silva, and he got sacked in December of 2019 after Liverpool beat them 5-2. And then, he's actually a good coach with Fulham. A lot of these guys are good coaches, and I think that's why we have the coaching carousel that we do, because they actually have good ideas and they're well respected, and they can manage locker rooms and be tacticians at the same time. But maybe Ange is just in a bad situation right now. Maybe he needs a back line that A is going to stay healthy and B is better than whatever Spurs are running out there every single fucking weekend. So it's not to say that Ange is a bad coach, but you can't have somebody who's that rigid and is not going to flinch on what they're trying to do every single weekend with a club and with a roster that's as volatile as Spurs.
Yeah, with the amount of injuries we got and Fraser Foster.
Shut the fuck up about these injuries, man.
It's legitimately killing this club right now, and it's not on Ange. It's on Levy. Give us a little bit more depth.
All I hear is excuses.
So many injuries. You and City fans sound
Look at our fucking back
You and
line.
City fans sound exactly the same right now. Exactly the same, which is embarrassing for both of you.
Who's more embarrassed about that? I'm not sure.
Sam, quick question. If tomorrow United said, let's switch coaches.
I actually think it would be I think it would be a good I think it would work.
Come on, you're thinking about it now.
I'm not.
You say no?
I'm not. I'm in on Ange. I'm Ange in. Okay,
boy, does he have you guys hypnotized? Good for him. He should run for president or something. This guy,
Prime Minister. It's an easier job for him.
God.
Prime Minister, easier job for him.
Listen,
he has got you guys all. You guys are guzzling this shit, man. Guzzling. It's been a year and a half of this bullshit. It doesn't matter what's gone on with your team.
Bullshit. It's been fun. I've had fun.
You guys could roll out a group of academy kids against Barcelona in the Champions League final because of all the injuries, and Ange would play the same exact way if he had his best 11. The same exact way.
Listen, the sex is good, and I'm staying in this relationship. It's worth it. Okay, trust me.
That's definitely worked for everybody.
It's fun, okay? Conte, Nuno, that was not fun. That was not Spurs. We don't want that. I'm glad. Listen, I actually really bear no ill will to Nuno. So
you're willing to put up with crazy just because the sex is good? That's not. That's
Spurs. That's the Spurs way right there.
Can we talk about teams that actually had fun today?
Sure. Who had fun? Liverpool?
Liverpool had fun.
They did.
We are so much better than everybody else this year. It's not really close. No, it's not.
You make it hard.
I know I do. Somebody else can talk about it, but
it's good. I just want to talk about that finish by Salah. That was just so class. I mean, he used two different players as screens. Oh my God, that was one of the prettiest goals.
He didn't even pick out his spot. He was looking to pick out a pass before he put his head down to strike the ball, and then he knew as soon as he put his head down and he knew he didn't have an option to pass, he was like, "All right, I'm going for a goal." He didn't even pick his head up. Didn't even see where he was going. He knew exactly where he was.
Imagine not paying him.
Stop.
Just imagine.
Don't do that.
Imagine just letting him walk for free.
First of all, nobody's letting him walk for free. We're going to offer him money. It just might not be up to his standards. Paying a 31-year-old more than £325,000 a week is insane. It's insane. Based on our pay structure. If you're City and you want to get charged with 115 different types of bullshit, then fine. But based on the way that we've done things in the past, it's insane to do that for a 31-year-old. It just is.
Isn't he 32?
32, even better. You're proving my point even more.
I say give it to him.
Are you willing?
Do you think the money's the issue or the years?
Years. It is years.
It is years.
It is years.
Well, it's one and the same, is it not? Are you talking? You mean age or years on contract?
Years on contract.
Years on contract. Okay. Yeah.
But are you unwilling to break your?
I think he wants 3 or 4, and Liverpool only wants to give him 1 or 2.
Yeah, I would say it's 2 versus 4.
But are you unwilling to kind of bend the knee a little bit for the best player in club history?
No, and that's their point, and that's what they won't budge on. They're
Gotcha.
not willing to sacrifice today. They're not willing to sacrifice tomorrow to honor a legend today. They've made that abundantly
And
clear
we've
over the years.
seen that in the past. Yep.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't think that's honoring a legend. I don't think there's many better right wingers
Yeah.
like in the works for the next 2 to 4 years. Like, I don't see him declining, and I think
You don't see him.
he
You
was
don't
him
think
and-
that he's going to slow down or he'll become more injury prone. Like
Everybody does eventually, but what
He-
evidence do you have of that right now?
I think he is
you
extremely
can't say that.
he is extremely good off the ball, so he can rest during the game. Like, he doesn't have to be the guy on the ball all the time, taking contact. Like, he has to obviously be in top shape to sprint. And I think he didn't have the miles on his legs early in his career compared to some of these other guys that are in the same position. Because you're 17, 18-year-olds.
Because he got benched by Chelsea.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
it's kept him fresher. Like,
Yeah.
Saka at his age or Sterling at his age, like Sterling's faded much quicker because he's how many minutes he's had.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to talk about a winger in terms of how many games and minutes they've played as opposed to their age.
He also might be the best passing winger in the history of the Premier League,
Very possibly.
which I think is another thing too. Is that like
Depends on how you define a winger, but yeah,
you know what I like in a front three.
Sure.
In a front three.
I'll entertain that.
He's an incredible player.
And we're getting it done with some injuries, Sam.
No, you're not. You
Okay.
listen.
The guy who just captained the French national team has been out for the past month.
Yeah.
And you got a guy who just played in a World Cup final or a Champions League final a couple years ago as your backup. That's your backup.
Who? Joe Gomez?
Yeah.
He only played in that Champions League final because somebody else was hurt. He's a backup center back.
And you had 3 of your 4 ready to go, and you're starting goalkeeper. Like, this is not look at our starters and look at your starters.
Allison was out for 6 weeks.
How do
Yeah,
you
but he was in.
say his name? Is it Kevin?
Who?
Quevaheen Kelleher.
Is it
Oh.
Queveen or Kevin?
It's not
Because
Kevin. It's not
Quiva. Quiva is the Caiomhe. It's like basically
No,
the
it's
male
not.
version of that.
Yeah, no.
He's
not
good,
Kevin.
by the way. He's good.
He's the best number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Ortega.
So-
Ortega, or if
Or
you
Fraser Forster.
no. Ortega or
Or
That
Kelleher.
was the
Kelleher.
meanest thing you've ever said.
By the way, Sam, your Spurs army actually was cool. Jake Stovall, big time Sam fan. Huge
Thanks,
Spurs
Joe.
fan. Huge Spurs fan, and he and I watched at Rhinehouse in Cincinnati together, which is a great Liverpool bar and a great soccer bar. And the whole bar is packed with Liverpool fans. People are starting to file in for the Bengals game too. And there was one small little table of like 3 or 4 Spurs fans. And after Liverpool put in the 5th goal, our boy Jake Stovall looks at the bartender and he says, "Whatever those guys at that table order for the rest of the day, put it on my tab."
Oh man, good move by Jake. Yeah, I guess we didn't even really talk about that game. Didn't surprise me at all. Like, that was exactly how I would have expected that game to go.
Yeah.
Like, just with that back line, we're trash.
All
We're
those
trash.
injuries. All those injuries.
All right, let's look ahead. Weekend ahead. Unless there's a burning desire to talk about another game that we haven't talked about. I feel like we've hit them
No.
all.
Newcastle are cooking. They're
They
back
are
on track.
cooking.
Yep.
They're back. They're getting healthy. They got Isak back. It seems to be like the guy that really makes it go. No surprise there. Yeah, Newcastle's they're good. So we still actually have a Boxing Day slate here with Brighton hosting Brentford and Arsenal hosting Ipswich tomorrow. But then we have a full slate running it back Sunday and Monday. And as somebody already teased, like, there's some good games coming up this weekend. Manchester United hosting Newcastle, Brentford hosting Arsenal, Villa hosting Brighton, Tottenham hosting and probably losing to Wolves. So, Mitchell, which game of the weekend You could include the games tomorrow: Brighton and Brentford, Arsenal, Ipswich.
There's
What game?
there's heads up. Sorry, there's a
Yeah.
Wednesday game, Brentford Arsenal as well. That's included in this match day. It's
okay.
on Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know why they're skipping New Year's Eve.
That's a good game.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I'll talk about. I'll swing tomorrow's Arsenal Ipswich game into Arsenal Brentford as well. I think learning to play without Saka is going to kick us in the nuts a little bit. We have not had to go any meaningful stretch of time without Bukayo Saka since he's become the most important player in our squad, and now we're going to have to adjust without him. I don't know what our 11 looks like tomorrow. I'm assuming it's Trossard and Martinelli on the wings, but yeah, we're kind of screwed. I'm really, really pessimistic about the next 6 weeks with Saka out. He does not need surgery, luckily, but man, I don't think we're going to be able to play the same way that we want to play. You see the connections that Odegaard, Saka, and Ben White can make when all healthy, and that's where our offense starts. Really, it does not start with Gabriel Martinelli, unfortunately. So,
What's the latest on Saka?
No surgery, but I think it's a couple.
I think it's like 6 weeks minimum.
Yeah,
I got one of those sort of clickbaity alerts saying that Arsenal was doing like a season-ending surgery check on Saka. I was like, wow, that I didn't think it looked that bad, actually.
So they did. I think what I heard from a reliable-ish source was they went and did the scan that night because they were scared it ripped off the bone and that he would need surgery. So they expedited that.
God, the amount of minutes the guy's played at the age that he's played, this kind of shit's bound to happen. It's upsetting. You need him. He is the most important player in the side. You can argue Odegaard as well, but the amount of minutes on his legs at such a young age, you always knew something like this was going to come around. And I'm not saying by any stretch that this is like the end of it, but these are the types of injuries that happen when you play a guy thousands and thousands of minutes a season.
And to your point, Mitch, and if you don't mind, Tyler, I'll go into my preview. This is more of an indictment of both City and Arsenal's recruitment. Like the fact that he's had to play this many minutes. And like as great as he is, like you can't for the long term just hammer this guy into the ground with 50, 60 matches a year, which he's starting basically all of them.
Is it that, or is it on the other
not
side
coming off the field
an indictment of kind of the system that we are now in?
It's both. It's for sure both.
Because I would put more on the system, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
fair. I just keep that out of it because like that's never
Yeah.
going to change. It's like managing your situation with the context you have. But I do think you're right with the lineup. I would love to see Martinelli on the right. And then I think it'll be Jesus and Havertz, and then I think Lewis Skelly is going to play a lot more at left back.
Picked him up in FPL last
Because
week.
yeah,
Very
he's
excited
way more attacking than the past left backs they've played, and they're going to need some more attacking down the other side of the field now. Oh, and mine's Fulham, Bournemouth, outside of Arsenal this week. That's the game I want to see.
I'm on that train.
Yeah, that's a great call. Villa, Brighton, United, Newcastle. I mean, that's it's a high profile game.
I think that's a shootout, but Newcastle come out on top.
You think it's a shootout?
Yeah.
Who's scoring goals for United?
Rashford.
We talking the reserve game?
Yeah, I was going to say the U23s, where Federico Chiesa and Rashford are going to play against each other in the next
I just think it's
United
an
and
open
Liverpool
game,
U23 game.
But now that you say it, yeah, I don't.
I just want to watch that for Isak. He's balling.
Yeah.
Newcastle, yeah. When they're healthy, they're a good team, and they're getting healthy. Any other games from the weekend? Leicester City. We've already said it, but if Man City don't win this game, this is at Leicester City. I mean, they got a tough.
Last week, I hypothesized that was rock bottom for them. That they would not. I couldn't even fathom them dropping points to Everton at home. I figured that Leicester away is going to be a formality given what Leicester's done so far, but God, who knows? Is this a 1-0 win for City? Is this a 2-2 draw? Like, they can't surprise me anymore. What is rock bottom for the City team?
It has to be time to drop Holland at this point. No, I mean, like I in FPL, I hovered over like the sell for like a good 2 minutes, and I didn't pull the trigger. And he scored a grand total of 0 points this week, in the Boxing Day week.
Yeah, I hovered over a Salah Gakpo same game parlay anytime goal scorer for about 3 minutes and didn't pull the trigger today either. We can play this game. We can pull this game all we want.
Yeah.
Fair, but listen, Holland's taken up a fairly large chunk of FPL, just salary.
Sell him and get Lewis Skelly and Rico Lewis and just call it a day.
Oh, Jesus! You gotta get away from City if you're gonna go anywhere. Any other games this weekend? I mean, Brentford, Arsenal, you guys kind of already talked about, but
is Holland the biggest waste of money in the world over the past 6 weeks?
Yeah, has to be.
Not even an FPL, just flat out.
Just period. Just absolute across the board.
More than Nunez.
Which Nunez?
Both.
Is the one at City's not great either.
No. He didn't cost 80 million though, did he?
Fair point.
Can't imagine that. Tottenham, I mean, we're probably going to lose the Spurs this weekend. Let's just be honest. Liverpool, you guys are just unbeatable. Villa, Brighton. That's kind of an
Sorry, say it
game.
again. One more time. I couldn't.
No.
Hear you. I had the mic.
I'm not talking
Tell
about
me one more
that
time.
again.
Tell me one more time. Talk to me.
West Ham might beat Liverpool. It's possible.
Oh yeah.
No, they're not. Any other games? Is that it? We done?
I think we're done. FPL.
FPL shout-outs?
I can't seem to make up ground on anybody. Mitch, you and I have very similar teams, and we captain the same people most weeks. So you're right in front of me, and so I can't. Yeah, I can't catch you.
Yeah,
I got to change something up.
Yeah.
Mikey Fowler in the Major League Soccer. That was his former name. I'm an Almiron, man. He actually did change it.
He did that when he was hammered today. There's no doubt. There's zero doubt.
Well played, Mikey. He moved into first place. I'm in second. McGunners, 992, followed by Isak at FPL 965, FCTT 947. You're not actually that far behind.
I know. I can't. I like chip away by like 8 or 9 points every match day. I just can't get over the hump.
Who's at the top? Oh, Connor Lingus. Connor Lingus is back.
Best
just bounce to the top of the table. Rob Carey, shout out. Magnets. Patrick Kelly is in second. Cold Palmer FC and Adityas TVs. I actually need somebody to explain to me how to pronounce your name, Adityas. Or Aditya.
I think it's Aditya.
Aditya. Okay. What about the last name? TVS. How the hell do you pronounce that?
I got no idea. I had a kid I coached, same name, and it's Aditya.
All right, Aditya TVs. Major League Soccer, the good one, fourth place, Fraser Connor. And then, a new name, Neon Hat Tequila. Neon Hat Tequila. I was thinking if I was saying a bad word. Greg, why couldn't it be like just a Steve Smith? No, Greg Bassier. Oh, God, my pronunciation is just terrible.
Cool.
All right. It's terrible. All right. I mean, listen, I'm excited about this weekend. Thank God the Premier League. This week has been absolutely terrible for sports, by the way. Christmas Eve. I know, you'd rather not be playing sports or
how dare
whatever.
You? The Knicks had a great win in Madison Square Garden over the Spurs.
That was on Christmas, though. That was actually on Christmas.
Christmas Day, yeah.
I went to the Celtics game. That was disappointing.
Saw that. You saw the Red Panda, though, at halftime. She is magnificent.
Legend of the game.
Wow.
Legend.
I'm just going to go ahead. If we have Go as this episode.
I've seen her twice live now.
I've seen her once. She's incredible. Maybe the best performer of our generation.
She's been doing it for like decades. Too.
Yeah.
She
loves the garden. She loves the garden, the real garden, not the fake one.
Whoa.
Not the fake one.
Relax.
No, do you want to do Goas? We got to do Goas, right? We got to at least sort of give people what they want here. Favorite episode.
Bruno
favorite
Fernandes.
segment. Bruno Fernandes, Goa. Well, are you going to give
We
an
didn't do a
explanation?
No, just a hard stop. A hard stop.
Period.
Period.
Take it how
Yep.
you want.
All right. We didn't do what?
Compliments corner.
I mean, you guys told me
Spurs.
we had to cut it down.
Well, yeah, let's do it quick.
Mikey's not here.
You want to
No,
do a compliment corner?
Mikey's not here. Let's not tell anybody.
Don't tell Dad he's passed out drunk.
All right, Spurs. I feel like we've been shitting on Spurs all game. Despite all their injuries, I think they've been doing a decent job.
That's not a compliment. That's not a compliment. We're in
Come on,
13th place or something.
That's in the vein of compliment corner. You give a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
You guys have bastardized what I actually wanted to do with this whole segment.
By the way, I miss power
completely
rankings.
hijacked.
I miss power rankings. When can we bring that back?
It's just complete. It's
No,
just a complete
no.
lie. It's just lies. It's nothing but lies.
I want to go to bed.
All right, we don't have
All
to
right.
do compliment corner. Let's move on. Let's go to goes.
We got one compliment. It was a fake compliment, so I'm shutting that down. Shutting down compliment corner. All right, Goas though is for real. So we do have one. Bruno is Tyler's. Just he's not even gonna say it. It's a walk away, walk off.
Yep.
Goa. Mitchell, who you got?
Oh, jeez. Jhon Duran talked enough about that. Okay, so I had a really cool experience today, actually, and I'm going to put the link in the Discord afterwards, but I was recently introduced to an artist named Soren, who was a former Danish pro player, played in the Danish Super League, and he has a bunch of degrees in like astrophysics and shit, and he makes art with football data, amongst other things, and his prints are sick as shit. My parents got me one for Christmas and connected with him. He's a fan of Overtime FC as well. So connected with him over the holidays and I had his family cooked me lunch today. He signed the print for me and we watched the first half of the Liverpool game together. He's a Liverpool fan. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. I'll send you guys the link. His art is sick as fuck. Please check it out. But my Goa is my man Soren.
All right. We normally charge for that type of thing, but it sounds cool. So I'm totally on board with it.
Speaking of, shout out to our sponsor, Kick It.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who's our sponsor?
Kick It.
Kick It. That's it. I thought you were going to give him like the whole.
Well,
Kick It. We're going to go play some soccer tennis.
You were supposed to do that at the beginning of the episode, but apparently you forgot about that, didn't you? Yeah. Now you're going to have to edit this out and go add that on. It's a tough look for you.
I don't know if I have that kind of skills. Tommy, what's your goal this week?
Paul Mullen scored a banger for Wrexham today.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm all aboard the train for them to go to the championship.
Mm-hmm.
One step closer to seeing Ryan Reynolds every weekend. And by that, I mean Blake Lively.
I was going to say, I mean, he's an attractive man.
They're an attractive couple.
They are, although they're in a quite a little dicey legal battle at the moment.
Let's not go there. You're only good for one legal battle, and it's the Kardashians. You can't overextend.
I will say I'm well versed in
go.
that Blake Lively stuff. So if you need somebody to come to, I'm your guy. Read up on it all this morning. Yep, I'm good. A little cup of coffee, a little snuggle with the missus, and I read up on that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, next episode.
Interesting warning there.
I didn't tell you what we did before we did all that. So
yeah, nope. Don't need that either.
We'll wait for Sam's Army After Dark on that one. I will go with Mateus Cunha. Dude is he's incredible.
Hooper.
Yeah, I mean, this guy. I don't know where he came from. I don't know where he's going, but it's not going to be at Wolves for too much longer. And he just straight up is a great soccer player and is not caring because I got a good FPL team, but he's doing great. Now I should actually start probably captaining him at some point. All right, guys. Tommy, Mitchell, Tyler, you guys are the best. Mikey, I really thought he was going to crash the party halfway through. Maybe next week. He
should have been our Goa man. We all messed up.
It's true. He talked so
That's
much
some bullshit.
shit.
So much shit. So much.
He was talking so much shit in the chat, not just in our like Sam's Army text chat, but also on the Discord. He was talking a lot of shit.
But look at the messages that he sent in that Sam's Army chat. I think we understand why he missed.
That's true too. I mean, it actually started last night when he was leaving the cigarettes on like a bench to, as like pay
public
it forward.
transportation bench. Yeah.
Mikey's been on one for the last 24 to 48 hours. So I guess we're going to give him just a little bit of a pass. Oh, it's too bad though. He would have come in hot. But shout out to, obviously everybody who came in the chat. I can't even read, so I'm not even going to go back up on the chat. But you guys are the best. Everybody who's on Discord, you guys are the best. And if you're not on Discord, if you're not Sam's Army Patreon, now is the time to do it. I know we didn't talk about it too much, but Tommy is doing all these tactical blogs, tactical write-ups. He's actually evolving that as we speak. And it's good stuff. I'm learning
less words, more visuals, so you can watch them with cool glasses like this.
Right, you get to see his cute putum, and really, what else could you ask for? All right, we'll be back at some point. I don't even know. The holiday fixture list gets kind of weird, but we'll be back at some point soon. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. I love you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year if we don't see you until then. Get it all? Yeah, I think we got it.